Lakshmi Hayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha. Srimate Nigmanta Mahadeshikaya Namaha. Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha. Namasabhai. Sarvebhyaha Suswagatam. Upasmahe. So this is the 6th class of our Hayagrivam Upasmahe. In the first few classes, we have looked at the up to Shloka number 9. We will be starting from Shloka number 10 today. Let's start with the Acharya Vandana. Lakshmi Natha Samarambham Nathayamuna Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shri Vatsavira Raghvisha Kritpalabdhatma Jivanam Atreya Gotrajam Vande Gurum Gopala Deshikam Shriman Venkadanatharya Kavitarkika Kesari Vedantacharya Varyo Me Sannidhattam Sada Hridi Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmalaspatikakritim Adharam Sarvavidyanam Hayagrivam Upasmahe. So in the first 9 shlokas, we have seen how Swami Deshika has looked at the appearance of the form of Swami Hayagriva and said that he has to do bhakti and sharanagati to Swami Hayagriva. And we also saw how in the last 2-3 shlokas, he has pointed out that anybody who is known as a knowledge giver, as a lord of knowledge or authority on knowledge, has derived that power of knowledge only from Swami Hayagriva. So this is what we have seen, whether it is Dakshinamurti Swami or the Saraswati Devi, Brahma, or whether it is Brihaspati, everybody we have seen has been blessed by Lord Hayagriva to perform their duty of giving of knowledge. So we also saw that in the 9th shloka, that through Brihaspati, Swami Hayagriva is also helping the Devas, right? That is where we stop. So now we are looking at not only through Brihaspati, but even directly he is helping the Devas. So that is where we start with the 10th shloka today. Let's look at how this goes. Agnau samidharchishit saptatantoho Atasthivaan mantramayam shariram Akhanda-sarair havisham pradanaihi Apyayanam vyoma-sadam vidhatse. Agnau samidharchishi saptatantoho Atasthivaan mantramayam shariram Akhanda-sarair havisham pradanaihi Apyayanam vyoma-sadam vidhatse. We have another Patantara here, which says instead of pradhanaihi, it is pradhanaihi. We will look at when we look at the meaning, we will look at both these versions. Let's start with the Padavibhaga. Agnau samidharchishi saptatantoho Atasthivaan mantramayam shariram Akhanda-saraihi havisham pradhanaihi Apyayanam vyoma-sadam vidhatse. There is only one sandhi over here, Akhanda-sarair havisham. So that gets split into Akhanda-saraihi havisham. Rest of the words are as such. Now let's look at the Anvaya, the prose order. So if you look at the prose order, it goes like this. Samidharchishi saptatantoho agnau mantramayam shariram atasthivaan havisham pradhanaihi vyoma-sadam apyayanam vidhatse. Samidharchishi saptatantoho agnau mantramayam shariram atasthivaan akhanda-saraihi havisham pradhanaihi vyoma-sadam apyayanam vidhatse. So the core part here is vyoma-sadam apyayanam vidhatse. So you nourish the vyoma-sada. Vyoma-sada refers to the devas, those who reside in the akasha, those who have the akasha as their abode. So for them, for the devas, apyayanam vidhatse, you take care of their nourishment and their sustenance. So this is what we are saying here. How does he do that? That is done with the help of the sacrifices. So that is what is mentioned in the first part of the first 3 padas that we have here. Agnau samidharchishi saptadantoho agnau Mantramayam shariram atastivan akhanda saraihi havisham pradhanaihi vyomasadam apyayanam vidatse. In the sacrificial fire, by having a mantramaya sharira, of being in the form of mantras, you are responsible for taking the havish, whatever oblations are poured into the sacrifice in the fire. By taking that to the devas, you take care of their nourishment and their sustenance. This is the overall meaning. We will look at the word by word meaning and see what are the details that we have here. Samidha archishi. Samidha archishi, samidha archishi. So in the well-ignited flames, samidha is well-lit. Archihi refers to the jwala, to the flame. So in the well-lit flames, saptatantoho. Saptatantu refers to sacrifice. So of the sacrifice, in the well-ignited flames of the sacrifice, saptatantu normally refers to yajna. And the reason why it's called saptatantu is basically is that it is strengthened by means of 7 tantus. Tantus are threads. So those threads could refer to flames, 7 flames, or it could be 7 chandas, which are derived from the 7 vyahriti. So we have these bhur, bhuvaha, swaha, and so on, right, which are referred to as vyahriti shabdas. So these shabdas are supposed to strengthen the sacrifice. So saptatantu is a name that's given to yajna, sacrifice. So of the sacrifice, in the well-ignited flames of the sacrifice, in that fire, agnav, mantramayam shariram, mantramaya, full of mantras, mantra personified. You are in the form of mantras, shariram, in that form, atastivan, staying in that form, having firmly taken that form. Okay, so this comes from the root sta, to stay. So staying in that particular form, or firmly staying in that particular form. Akhanda sarehi, akhanda, fully, it is full with sara. Sara refers to essence. Sara could mean rasa, something which is very, not tasty acid, but something which is of the essence. Or shreshta, something which is very great, something which is pristine. So sarehi, so replete with essence. Akhanda sarehi, havisham, havish refers to all the oblations that go into the fire during any sacrifice. It could be ghee, rice, purodasha. You have these things which are given in the fire. So that is the havisham, pradhanehi. So you take this havish and you distribute it to the devas. So pradhanehi, by distributing it. Or if it is pradhanehi, which means it is they are the essential ones, the quintessential ones. So by taking the quintessential oblations, which are replete with essence, to the devas, to vyoma-sadam. Vyoma-sadam. So to those who reside in the akasha. So vyoma refers to akasha or sky. Sadanam is abode. So vyoma-sadam basically means those who reside in the akasha, those who reside in the sky. Vyoma-sadam. Apyayanam. So you provide the vidhatse, you provide. Apyayanam is the nourishment. So the satiating nourishment. So apyayanam is said to be for 2 things, prinanam and tripti. So prinanam is you please them and also you satisfy them. So it provides pleasing nourishment to the devas. Okay, so how do you do that? You do that by being in the form of mantras and receiving the oblations that are put into the fire and distributing that to the devas. And how should this sacrifice, the sacrificial fire be? It should be well lit, right? So in the well ignited flames of the fire, of the sacrificial fire, you take the form of mantras, you remain in the, by distributing the quintessential oblations, which are replete with essence, which are full of essence, by providing that, by distributing it to the devas, you provide satiating nourishment for them. So you nourish the devas. So not only are you responsible for the Aishwarya of the devas, you also take care of their nourishment, of their sustenance. So this is what we have as the overall structure in this particular verse. So the points note here are Saptatantu, which refers to Yajna, and Akhanda Sarehi, that is full of essence. So all the Havish, the Pradhanehi, Akhanda Sarehi, Havisham Pradhanehi. So Akhanda Sarehi, it is full of essence, and you take it and you distribute it to the Devas. Or you can say, you take the essential, the very, the pure essence of that entire oblations, you take it and you give it to the Devas, so that they are nourished. So that's the idea here. So now let's look at the Bhavartha. Yeah, so as we said, this describes yet another benefaction that Hayagriva confers on the Devas. So in all yajnas, the various harvests are offered into the sacred sacrificial fire, along with the mantras to be given to the Devatas, right? So Devata is important, mantra is important. So these are important aspects of any yajna, right? So it is you who, as the presiding deity of the mantras, is responsible for reaching it to them. That is, taking the harvest and giving it to the Devas. So you are the presiding deity of the mantras. So you are the inner dweller of the Vedic mantras. That's why he says you are mantra maya. So being mantra maya, you are the inner dweller of the Vedic mantras. So you receive the harvest and you distribute it to the Devas. So you are the person who is responsible for the sustenance and nourishment of the Devas through the dharmic yajnas. So the yajnas which are performed as dharmic rites, as dharmic rituals. So you are responsible for the sustenance of nourishment of Devas through this dharmic yajna. So that's the overall Bhavartha that we have here. Now let's look at some of the finer aspects that we see in this particular verse. Right? So we saw that it's not only for the Aishwarya, but also for directly helping them to sustenance is what is mentioned over here. So that's the connect with respect to the previous shloka that we saw. Okay. So this mantramayam shariram. Okay. So when you say that Bhagwan has taken the mantramayam shariram, so what is the pramana for that? Again, he is, as we have seen in Bhagavad Gita, we have a very nice shloka there which says, Aham kratuhu aham yajnaha swadhaham aham aushadham mantroham ahamevajyam aham agnihi aham hutam. Mantro aham, he says, I am the mantra, I am the kratu, I am the yajna. I am there in the form of yajna. I am there in the form of ajyam. Ajyam is ghee that is given as an oblation. I am there in the form of an oblation. Aham mantra, and I am there in the form of mantra, right? So Bhagwan clearly says that he himself has a mantramaya sharira. So that is that's a very nice reference to this that we see in this particular shloka. And then we said that he is responsible for distributing or for passing on the havish to the devas, right? So that is to say that he is the one who is responsible for also giving the fruits of that particular yajna. What are the purpose of the yajna? The purpose of the yajna is that you please the devas. So devas are pleased by the oblations that we give into the sacrificial fire, along with the mantras. There is mantrocharana purvakam. So along with the mantra with spelling out the mantra. There again, Bhagavan is the Prabhu. He is the Phalaprada. He is the one who is responsible for giving the results, right? So here again, we again go back to Bhagavad Gita. Aham hi sarvayajnana bhoktacha prabhurevacha. All these are in chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita. Sarvayajnana, for all the yajnas, I am the bhokta. Okay, I am the one who is the bhokta, who receives all this. And prabhurevacha. So I receive everything and I am also responsible for giving the results. So Phalaprada, Prabhu here refers to Phalaprada, one who gives the results of the action. The bestower of result is also Bhagwan, right? So Akhanda Sarehi Havisham Prada. So he is the one who is responsible for reaching it to Devas, is also obtained through this particular pramana. Also, in the Bhagavata, in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the second canto, right? No, second second skandha, where in the second skandha, in the 7th adhyaya. So there, Brahma is doing the stotra, where he's describing all the avatars, starting from Varaha Avatara, right up to Krishna Avatara. So in that, during that, when he's describing all the avatars, he talks about the Hayagriva Avatara. So there he says, Hayagriva himself came as the Yajna Purusha, and he came and received all the oblations that were given into the fire. Okay, so the shloka goes as Satre Mamasa Bhagavan Hayashirsha Yeshaha Sakshat Sa Yajna Purushaha Tapaniya Varnaha. That Yajna Purusha is Hayashirsha, his Hayagriva. And Satre Mamasa Bhagavan, in my Satra, he himself came. He was there to receive my whatever oblations I was giving, all the harvest that I was giving into the fire, okay, into the sacrificial Agni. So Chandomayaha, Makamayaha, Akhila Devatatma. So he is Chandomaya, right? He is in the form of all Chandas and he is in the form of all sacrifices. Akhila Devatatma. So he is also the inner dweller of all the Devas. So as an inner dweller, he is the one who is able to sustain them. Vacho babu ushatihi shvasatosya nastaha. So he is also in the form of vacha, in the form of speech, in the form of Vedas. So that again strengthens this particular, the content of this particular shloka. So also we know that in Brahma's Yajna, it is in Kanchipuram, Varadaraja Swami is supposed to have come from Brahma's Yajna. So there it is said that Bhagavan directly came and received all the oblations that were given into the fire. So that is the that's how it is said. Okay, so we have this instance again to say that Bhagavan directly comes and receives the oblations, and he is responsible for giving it to the other devatas. So that's another aspect that we see over here. Another very interesting thing that we see in this particular shloka is all the aspects of a sacrifice, okay, are all kind of brought in over here, okay. So it's almost like the definition for what a sacrifice is supposed to be like, for a yajna is supposed to be like, right? So Agni is important, right? So Agni, and it should be Samidharchishi Agni. So that Agni has to be Samidharchishi. It has to be well ignited. So you're not supposed to do the oblations into Agni, which is not well lit or which is, just in the form of a coal, right? It has to be really well lit. So that's also important. And Saptatantu, as I said already, it refers to the yajnas which are supported by means of the Vyakriti mantras. So that is, again, that gives you what a yajna should be like. And mantramayam shariram astasthima, right? So importance of mantras. So mantrocharana purvakam is very important. So you have to say the mantras. Without the mantras, the yajnas are not complete. It's not a yajna if you do not have the mantras. And similarly, the importance of all the havish, akhanda sarehi havisham pradanehi, right? So purodasha, raiski, how those havish are supposed to be. They are all supposed to be full of essence. So it has to be done with a lot of shraddha, right? So that is how that has to be given. And that is what gives the strength for the devas, right? So Bhagavan says, right, parasparam bhavayanta. So when we give the yajnas, the devas are pleased, and they in turn please the human beings who are doing the sacrifice. And all this happens only through Bhagavan, right? So Bhagavan is the one who makes this happen. So this is, so apyayanam. So the result is that the devatas are pleased. So that, and they are nourished. So that also is indicated by this particular word apyayanam, vyomasadam apyayanam. Vidhatse, and you do it as per, you can also look at it as, you do it as a dharma related action, as per vidhi, as it is as it is stated, as it is ordained. That is how the yajnas have to be done. So vidhi is important in yajna, mantra is important in yajna, devatas are important in yajna, Agni is important in yajna, and a well-lit Agni in which the oblations have to be given is all covered in this particular shloka. So you can see that a complete description of the yajnas is given over here. In one sense, you can also say, because he's been talking about Hayagriva being Vedaswarupi, right? So if you look at the Vedas, we talk about Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda, right? So the Karma Kanda deals with Yajna and other things. So this part kind of covers what is there in that Karma Kanda, right? All the essence of that Karma Kanda is essentially covered in this particular, in this particular shloka. Okay. So he is the one who nourishes the devatas. That's the core idea here. So let us look at the let's read the shloka once more before we move on to the next shloka. Agnau samidharchishi saptatantoho atasthivan mantramayam shariram akhandasareir havisham pradanaihi apyayanam vyomasadam vidhatse. So that's the shloka here. Now let's look at the okay. Let's move on to the next shloka. Okay, next shloka. Yanmoolamedrik pratibhati tattvam ya moolamamnaya mahadrumanam tatvena jananti vishuddha sattvaha tam aksharam aksharamatrakam tvam. So here also there is a bheda, patantara, which says, instead of tvam, we have te. So I will read the next shloka with the te. Next time we'll repeat the same shloka with the te. Yan moolamidrik pratibhati tattvam, ya moolamamnaya mahadrumanam, tatvena jananti vishuddha sattvaha, tam aksharam aksharamatrakam te. So let's look at the Padavibhaga. Yanmoolam idrik. So yanmoolam idrik pratibhati tattvam ya moolam amnaya mahadrumanam tatvena jananti vishuddha sattvaha tam aksharam aksharamatrakam tvam. Yanmoolam idrik pratibhati tattvam. So yanmoolam idrik becomes yanmoolam and idrik. And similarly, moolam amnaya mahadrumana. So that is again split as moolam and amnaya mahadrumana. Again, tam aksharam aksharamatrakam becomes tam aksharam aksharamatrakam. Tvam or te. So the Anvaya, idrik tattvam yanmoolam pratibhati amnaya mahadrumanam ya moolam tam aksharam aksharamatrakam tvam vishuddha sattvaha tatvena jananti. So let's repeat that again. Idrik tattvam yanmoolam pratibhati amnaya mahadrumanam ya moolam tam aksharam aksharamatrakam tvam vishuddha sattvaha tatvena jananti. So here again, vishuddha sattvaha, tvam vishuddha sattvaha tatvena jananti. That is the core part. So vishuddha sattvaha, those who have a pure sattvic knowledge, the knowers as such, tatvena tvam jananti. They know you as you are. They understand your essence. So what is your essence? You are tam aksharam aksharamatrakam. That aksharam aksharamatrakam is again described using the first two phrases. Idrik tattvam yanmoolam pratibhati amnaya mahadrumanam ya moolam tam aksharam aksharamatrakam tvam vishuddha sattvaha tatvena jananti. So vishuddha, as we said, they know you as the essence of, as akshara, aksharamatrakam, as the aksharamatrakam, and in simple terms can be looked at as the pranavakshara, as the pranava, as the omkara. They understand you as the omkara. So that by the first two phrases. Idrik tattvam yanmoolam pratibhati. This tattva, this prapancha, based on which it shines forth. There is, the omkara is responsible for this entire creation. And amnaya mahadrumanam ya moolam. And for this entire Vedas, it is the moola. The pranava is supposed to be the root of all the Vedas. So, vishuddha sattvaha, those who really understand the essence of knowledge, they understand you to be that particular akshara-matraka. There are also additional meanings to that. We will look at it when we look at the detailed meaning. Okay. So basically saying that you are the Omkara. So that's the meaning over here. And that Omkara is the root, is the moola for the Vedas. So that's, and for the entire creation. So that's what we'll see now. So coming to the word by word meaning. Idrik tattva, idrik, this, the way we see it, right? This universe, tattva. This tattvam here refers to the entire creation, the entire universe, the prapancha that we talk about, right? This entire universe, this creation. Yatu moolam pratibhati, due to which cause, pratibhati, it manifests, it shines forth. So that entity, which is the cause for this entire universe to manifest itself, right? To be manifested. So that cause also amnaya mahadrumana, for the mighty trees of Vedas. So amnaya mahadrumana. Amnaya refers to Veda, to the Vedas, and mahadrumana. Druma is tree. So you're looking at the mahadruma. It's a big tree, of many trees. The Vedas have got You can look at the entire Vedas as a group of trees with many shakhas, with many branches. So Amnaya Mahadruman, for these mighty trees of Vedas, Ya Moolam, Ya, which is Moolam, the root. So that which is the root for the mighty trees of the Vedas. Okay, so this is the second phrase. Tam, that, as that, Akshara. So Akshara refers to something which is indestructible, which cannot be destroyed. No, Akshara basically means something which can be destroyed. Akshara is that which cannot be destroyed. So indestructible. Akshara Matrika. So Akshara, this Akshara refers to the letters, Varnamala, the alphabets. The Akshara Matrika. So for the alphabets, the Matrika, mother or source of all alphabets. So you can look at Omkara is considered to be the source of all the alphabets. So that is one way of understanding it. Akshara Matrika can also refer to the entire Varnamala, and we will look at that. We'll look at the detailed meaning. So you can look at it as the source of all alphabets. So basically as the Omkara. So that Akshara Matrika. So as the source of all alphabets. Tvam, you, okay, or when you say te as something which is belonging to you. Either they look at it as Tvam, you, Vishuddha Sattvaha, Tatvena Jananti. So all these Vishuddha Sattvaha, people with a pure mind, with a sattvic quality, Tatvena, as it is, right? Really, as things exist, they know you, they understand you. So this is the overall content here. So main aspect is that they understand you. That is, people with pure mind understand you as the source of all alphabets, right? As the Omkara. And that Omkara is responsible for the creation of this entire universe, right? It is based on this Omkara that the entire creation happens. And that Omkara is also the root of the mighty tree of the Vedas. So that Omkara is nothing but you, right? Or you are nothing, or either way, can look at you are, that Omkara is you. Or that Omkara belongs to you. So you can look at it as dependent on you. That Omkara or the Akshara Matrika, that entire, the Akshara Mala that is there, all those belong to you, which become the sustaining aspects for the Vedas and for the entire creation. So you can see that they're all related. So the entire creation is supposed to be done according to the Vedas, okay? And the Vedas have the Akshara, the Akshara Matrikam, the Omkara as its root. And you are that particular Omkara. So from you comes Omkara, and from Omkara comes the Vedas, and based on the Vedas, the entire creation happens. So that that kind of a chain is also, that is something which can be seen beautifully in this particular shloka. Okay, so you are responsible. You are the one who is that Omkara, is what is being said over here. Let's look at the detailed meaning. Yeah. So as we said, those of pure mind, right? Vishuddha Sattvaha. So those of pure mind, they comprehend you as the root cause for the manifestation of this magnificent universe. And we say this Tattvam, Idrik Tattvam. So the way we see it, the way it is manifested. So this magnificent universe, which consists of all kinds of beings, right? You have from Devas, you have Manushyas, you have humans, you have animals, you have plants, and you have so many other Tattvas, right? It is built up of, when you say Tattvam here, you can also refer to it as the 24 Tattvas that are responsible for the creation of the universe, right? So we talk about Mahat, Ahankara, and then we talk about the Panchabhutas, the different Tattvas that we have. So 24 Tattvas are supposed to be there in the creation of this universe. So you are the root cause for this manifestation of this entire universe. That's the idea that is basically being covered here. Okay. Now, how is that possible? So that is what is given in this particular shloka. So the creation of the universe takes place with the help of the Vedas. So this is what we pointed out, right? So because we said according to Vedas is how the creation happens. So Brahma is supposed to use the Vedas for the creation. So creation happens based on the Vedas. And the Vedas, which have many shakas, branches, have, and so you can look at it as a tree. So it these Vedas have the Akshara Malika, the set of alphabets as their base, which in turn has the Ekakshara, the Omkara, the indestructible Ekakshara, Pranava or Omkara as its root. So, and you are that Pranava Swarupa. So Pranava, or the Pranava Swarupa is dependent on you. That Pranava Karam is dependent on you. Thus, you are the root cause for the Srishti, for this Jagat Srishti. Okay. And this is what is discerned by the righteous ones. So the Vishuddha Sattvaha, they understand this, they discern this. Okay. That's the Bhavartha. So you can see that the tattva, that idrik tattvam, idrik pratibhati tattvam. This tattvam, so when you say tattvam here, how does this tattva refer to the entire universe, right? So of course, tattva is something, because we talk, see, by using this small word tattva, there are many things that Swami Deshika is alluding to over here. So because this, when we talk of creation, when Bhagavan starts the creation, right? So we talk about Mahat, Ahankara, and then you have the, from the Ahankara, you have the Tanmatra, you have the Panchabhutas, you have the Indriya, Karmendriya, Jnanendriya, Manas. All these constitute the different tattvas that we have. So all these tattvas, right, the Achit tattva that you have. So all these tattvas, you are responsible for the creation of all these tattvas. That is what is being pointed out to by just that small word over here. Okay. Let's look at some other interesting aspects as well. So as we said, in every shloka of Swami Deshika, there are many interesting things which are hidden, right? We just need to really explore that. So that is something we need to be able to do. Yeah. So the the term Akshara Matrika, right? So it, as I said, can be interpreted as the set of alphabets, which is the root for the tree of Vedas. So in that sense also, you are that root. Okay. So either you can look at it as, both ways, either directly as the Akshara Malika itself, you are the root of the Vedas, or that Akshara Malika is dependent on the Omkara, and therefore through the Omkara you become the you are the root for the creation. So that's how both things, but there's both ways it can be looked at. Okay. So it's almost like if you look at it as, in the previous shloka we saw how he talked about how the how Bhagavan is responsible for helping the devas, right? So here it's almost like saying that it is fitting that you are responsible for helping the devas, because the entire creation itself is dependent on you. Not only devas, right? The entire creation is dependent on you. So you are responsible. So you are helping the devas is really nothing very to be surprised about. So that's natural. So that's a point that he's conveying over here. And yeah, so we also have this, of course, Omiti Brahma. That's a very important in the Taittiriya Shishavalli, we have this phrase here, right? This Shruti Vakyam. Omiti Brahma. So the Omkara is Brahma Swarupa. So that is, Brahma is Omkara Swarupa. So that is another aspect that is also covered in this. So you find that, again, we will see this in this shloka as well as the next shloka, we will see that many Shruti Vakyas are kind of embedded by certain, words that are used. I won't say, some kind of not a bijakshara, but kind of some important words. They convey many of these Shruti Vakyas. So that is one thing that we see here. And then, so as I said, the Vedas are responsible for the creation. That is, the creation happens with the help of the Vedas. So for this you have the pramana in both Upanishads as well as in Vishnu Purana. Veda Shabdena Evado Devadinam Chakarasaha. So in Vishnu Purana we say, only from the Veda Shabdas, from the Vedas, Bhagavan that created all these Devas and all the other creations were all done. Deva, Manushya, Stavara, Jangama, everything was created by him only based on the Vedas. So that's that's another thing to connect to. And then, of course, then we say, in Taittiriya Upanishad, of course, we have Yatova imani bhutani jayante ena jatani jivanti. So from whom all this entire creation happens, right? All these tattvas are created. So, Yatova imani bhutani jayanti comes again from Taittiriya Upanishad. So this Yanmoolam idrik pratibhati tattvam, right? So Yatova imani bhutani jayanti. So that is kind of directly connected to that. Of course, in Purusha Suktam also we have Richas Samani Jagire, Chandamsi Jagire. So that he is responsible for the Rik, Sama, and Yajush, all the Vedas, right? So that also is pointed out in the Purusha Sukta. So we can say that Vedas and for all the entire creation, Bhagavan is responsible. So Bhagavan is the one from whom all these things come forth. And another way of looking at it also is, when we chant the Vedas, chanting of all the Vedic mantras, always typically starts with the pranava. So the pranava is the root for the Vedas, can also be looked at it as it always comes at the beginning of the Vedas, whenever Vedic mantras are chanted. So that's also another way of looking at it. Okay, so that is an important aspect. Actually, it is said that, I think the understanding that we have here is more or less, a kind of a peripheral understanding, because it is said that you need to have real knowledge of mantra shastra to understand the actual import of this verse, which is what some of the Vyakyanas point out. Because when you talk about this akshara matrika, right? So matrika is considered to be as symbols or characters with divine powers. So when you say akshara matrika, when you have a mantra, really understand the import of the shloka, we may have to have a good study of mantra shastra. So we need to take the help of people who have a very good knowledge of mantra shastra to actually do a deep dive into this particular shloka. Okay, so for our understanding now, we will look at it like this: that he is the one who is responsible for all the Vedas. The creation is dependent. The entire universe is created based on the Vedas. And the Vedas are dependent on Omkara, or the alphabets of the Akshara Matrika or the Omkara. And that Omkara is nothing but Swami Hayagriva. So, Omiti Brahma. So, that's the essence of this particular shloka. Okay. So, let's read it again. Yan moolami drik pratibhati tattvam ya moolam amnaya mahadrumanam tatvena jananti vishuddha sattvaha tam aksharam aksharamatrakam tvam. Okay. So we have said that he is the root cause for the creation. Now in the next shloka, he expands on this aspect of Bhagavan being responsible for the creation. Let's look at what he says in that next shloka. Avyakritat vyakritavānasi tvam namāni rūpāni ca yāni pūrvam shamsanti teshām charamām pratishthaṃ vāgīśvaratvam tvadupagnavācaha. Avyakritat vyakritavānasi tvam namāni rūpāni ca yāni pūrvam shamsanti teshām charamām pratishthaṃ vāgīśvaratvam tvadupagnavācaha. So the Padavibhaga for this: Avyakritat Vyakritavan Asi Tvam Namani Rupani Cha Yani Purvam Shamsanti Tesham Charamam Pratishtham Vagishvara Tvam Twadupagnya Vachaha. So Avyakritat Vyakritavanasi, that splits into three words: Avyakritat Vyakritavan Asi Tvam. All the other words are as such, and then at the end we have all the other words come as it is. Shamsanti Tesham Charamam Pratishtham Vagishvara Tvam Twadupagnya Vachaha. So all the other words come as such. Okay. Many small words, so it's a little easy to recite the shloka and also understand the meaning. Anvayaha. So let's come to the word by word, the word order, prose order. So Vagishvara. So he's addressing Bhagavan Hayagriva as Vagishvara. Hey Vagishvara, Tvam Purvam Avyakritat Yani Namani Rupani Cha Vyakritavanasi Tesham Charamam Pratishtham Tvam Twadupagnya Vachaha Shamsanti. Okay. Vagishvara Tvam Purvam Avyakritat Yani Namani Rupani Cha Vyakritavanasi Tesham charamam pratishtham tvam twadupagnya vachaha shamsanti. Speech. So the core part is tvam twadupagnya vachaha shamsanti. Tvam, you, twadupagnya vachaha, those again who understand you as the source of Vedas or the Vedas themselves. The Vedas or those who know the Vedas, tvam shamsanti, they praise you. So how do they praise you? They praise you as whatever is given in the first part. They praise you as tvam purvam avyakritat yani namani rupani cha vyakritavanasi tesham charamam pratishtham tvam tadupagya vachaha shamsanti. So this part covers that you who were responsible for creating this entire universe and giving name and form to all those entities that you have created, you become the charamam pratishtham, that you become their final import as well. As this aspect is this is how the Vedas and those who know the Vedas praise you. So that's the aspect that is covered in this particular shloka. Again, almost direct reference to a couple of Shruti Vakyas. So we will look at that here. Let's look at the word by word meaning first. Vagishvara. So that's how he starts the thing. So Vagishvara. So God of speech. So Bhagavan, who is the God of speech. Tvam, you. Purvam, in the beginning, that is at the time of creation. Avyakritat, from the unmanifest state, that is from Mula Prakriti, from the unmanifest state. Yani naman, yani, which namani, names. Rupanicha, and forms. Vyakritavanasi, you had created, you had brought forth, you had created. Tesham, of those, Tesham meaning of those names and forms, of those names and forms. Charama, the ultimate. Pratishtham, the goal or destination or import. As the ultimate goal or ultimate destination of those names and forms. Tvam, Pratishtham, Tvam, are you alone. Okay. So Tvad upagya vachaha, thus the Vedas that were promulgated by you, or those who know the Vedas, both meanings can be attributed to this particular phrase here. Tad upagya vachaha, shamsanti, praise. So the Vedas that were promulgated by you praise you thus. How do they praise you? They praise you as you are the one, that you in the beginning, that is at the time of creation, from the unmanifest state, you brought out all the names and forms. Yani, namani, rupani cha vyakritavanasi, which names and forms you had created. For those names and forms, you are the ultimate goal or destination and import. So this is how the Vedas praise you. So the Vedas essentially point out that you are the person who at the beginning was responsible for the creation, for bringing out all the beings, which from the unmanifest state to the manifest state, giving them their names and forms. And as the ultimate purpose of those names and forms also, you only exist. So you are the essence of all those names and forms. So and this is what is indicated by the Vedas, and people who know who understand the Vedas praise you thus, or the Vedas themselves praise you in this particular manner. So these are the Veda Vakyas that we have. So very important Veda Vakyas are Shruti Vakyas are expressed in this particular shloka. So let's look at the meaning here. Now, most of the words here are very simple words. So avyakrita is, vyakrita basically is something which is manifest. So avyakrita is unmanifest. So unmanifest state, we refer to Mula Prakriti as the unmanifested state. So that is what we say over here. And Charama is the end, last, so ultimate. Pratishtha can be goal, destination, import, and so on. Upagnya. So upagnya basically refers to upakrama, beginning. Okay, so the Tvad upagnya vachaha, that is the Vedas that were started by you. Okay, so which is why I said the Vedas that were promulgated by you. Okay, so that's the word that we have here. Shamsanti, they praise you. So the Swadupagya Vachaha can be, so Twadupagya can refer to the Vedas. That were originally promulgated by you. So that way you can give the meaning for this word in two ways. So in both ways, it nicely fits with our shloka. So Bhagavan is praised in this manner. So let's look at the next, the Bhavartha and the inner meanings of the details of this particular shloka. Okay. So basically what is being pointed out is that you are not only the source of all, you are also the end or the purport of all words and forms. The entire creation, right? Everything has a name and form. So everything, you are the source of it all. So the Vedas that were first revealed and taught by you verily declare that and praise you so. So they are the source of the creation and they also praise you in that manner. So at the time of creation of the universe, you brought out all the creations from the unmanifest state, from the Mula Prakriti, and you gave a name and form to each of the objects and entities that you created. Right? So as we said, Mahata, Ahankara, Panchabhuta, the 5 elements, okay, Annam, food, everything comes from you. And then you entered each of them as the Antaryami or the inner dweller and the controller. Okay, so all the words that describe any object ultimately refer to you. Okay, this is what is a very key aspect that is being pointed over here. Okay, we said that you are the final goal or final purport of each of the words, right? So this comes because you are the Antaryami. Okay, so to understand this, just as the name of a person refers to the inner controller or Atma, not just the body, similarly, names of all objects actually end in you. So this is the essence of our philosophy, right? So it says that, so when you say, for instance, when you say a name, okay, you say a name of a person, Rama, for instance, so it does not refer to just the person Rama, it refers to, I mean, does not just refers to the body of that person, but it refers to that Atma, right? The Jivatma. And not only the Jivatma, in Vedantic terms, you would say that the Paramatma is the inner dweller, Antaryami of the Jivatma. So that Nama, Rama, not only does not stop just at indicating the Jivatma, but it also indicates the Paramatma inside that particular person. So similarly, even if you say pot, Gataha, a pot, for instance. So when you say pot, it does not refer to just that body, but it refers to the one who is inside that pot, one who makes it remain as, or who makes it a pot, right? Who is responsible for that particular being, for that particular entity. So every name and form, therefore, essentially refers to you. So anything and everything, therefore, is you. That's the aspect that is being conveyed over here. Okay. So, so the names of all objects actually end in you. So you thus become the final purport of all your creations of this entire prapancha. Okay. So, and this is adoringly established by the Vedas and those who know the Vedas. So to support this, we have a multitude of Shrutis. So a multitude of Shrutis celebrate this, right? That's how this the creation is understood, right? And that you are the inner dweller and you are the one who makes everything happen. Okay, so this is the overall Bhavartha. So as we look at the supporting Shruti Vakyas, we'll understand this even better because it's almost had a direct reference to the Shruti Vakyas. Okay. So this is the first half, right? This Avyakritat Vyakritavaanasitvam Namani Rupani Cha Yani Purvam. This first half of the shloka, okay, is almost a direct reference to the Nama Rupa Vyakarana Shruti Vakyas. Okay. And the later half, okay, so the first half, right, that the Pramana shloka, it's almost a direct, paraphrasing of that particular Shruti Vakya. So we have in Chandogya Upanishad, Seyam Devataikshata Hantahamimas Tisro Devataha Anena Jivena Atmana Anupravishya Nama Rupe Vyakaravani. Okay, so there he says, Imas Tisro Devataha Anena Jivena Atmana Anupravishya Nama Rupe Vyakaravani. You can see the words that are there over here. Namani Rupani Cha Yani Purvam is what we have here. So there he says, Nama Rupe. And Vyakara, and here we say Vyakritavan Asi, you created, right? So there he says Vyakaravani. I shall create the nama and rupa, the names and forms. Jivena Atmana Anupravishya, as by entering into each of these entities. So the context of this particular Chandogya Upanishad, the Yakya goes like this basically. So Bhagavan starts with creation. Okay, so he says that Tejo Asruja. So he says Bahusyam Prajayaya, right? He says, I want to become many. So that's how he starts, right? And he says Bahusyam Prajayaya, I shall become many. In fact, that's what is referred to in the previous shloka also, that he's the responsible for the entire creation. So he says Bahusyam Prajayaya, I shall become many. And he starts with the creation. So that Tejo Asrujata, he creates a tattva called Tejas. So then from Tejas, again, Apaha is created. Then from Annam is created. So these are the three things referred to in the Chandogya there. So and then now with this, he wants the creation to happen and he finds that still something is not happening. So he says, I shall enter into each of these things and give the names and forms to all the other objects that need to be created. Okay? So we talk about something called Trivritkaranam. So where, these objects, when they are separate, they are not able to combine and create the names, create the forms. So he basically divides them each of them into three parts, and then he mixes them up, right? With one part being of that particular entity, and then taking another part of that from the others and making that as a whole. Okay, so it's referred to as Trivitkaranam. This is a concept that we have. It also has a reference to what we call as Panchikaranam, which is used when we have the 5 elements that are brought together. So these are some things. That's basically what we do is how these objects are kind of brought together to form a whole. So every object therefore has not just Prithvi or Up or Tejas alone, but it will also have majority of one and a minority of the other 2 elements. So that's how the things are brought together. So this aspect, right? That Jivena Atmana Anupravishya Nama Rupe Vyakaradavani. So Namani Rupani Vyakatavanasi and Avyakrata. So from before that, everything was not Vyakrata, it was not manifest. So he brought it into manifestation. So this part, okay, this is directly referred to in this particular, the first half. Okay. Now, similarly, we have other Shruti Vakyas, like in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which talk essentially of this Antaryamitva. So where Bhagavan has the Prithvi or the earth, Vayu, Apaha, the waters, everything as his Sharira. Okay, and he is the Shariri, who is the inner controller inside. So Yasya Prithvi Shariram, Yasya Apa Shariram, Yasya Vayu Shariram, Yasya Akasha Shariram, Yasya Aksharam Shariram. So you have these things where we say all these are his Shariram. So Shariram would mean basically not just body. It means that it is that which is controlled and supported by him. So, okay, so all this become the Sharira one. And he is the Shariri. He is the one who controls and supports all these things. Okay. Similarly, that is one pramana we can look at. Another thing to look at is for in Purusha Sukta we say Sarvani Rupani Vichitya Dhiraha Namani Kritva Abhivadan Yadaste. Namani Kritva. He was the one who gave it all the name. He was the one who created the Rupa. Sarvani Rupani. Okay. The Rupa and the Nama. Both of them come from him. So this again is pointed to in the Purusha Sukta also. Okay. And what this essentially conveys is, this part that that everything else is the Sharira and he is the Shariri inside, right? So this Sharira Shariri Bhava, okay, or what is called as a Prakara Prakari Bhava. So the form and Prakari, one that is responsible for this form. So these are very central concepts of Vishishtadvaita philosophy. And that central concept is conveyed in this particular shloka here. Okay, so that he is the one who is responsible for, who is the inner dweller. He is the Antaryam. And that is how all the names and forms, they entirely go and they end up only in him. Okay, so that's how, that's the concept of Vishishtadvaita, right? So that is Chit Achit Vishishtaha Paramatma. So that Bhagavan is Chit and Achit Vishishta. So this Chit and Achit, all the sentient and non-sentient, all these objects that we have here, everything, they are all attributes of that Paramatma. Okay. And how are they the attributes? Through this relationship of Sharira Shariri Bhava. That he becomes the controller, he becomes the sustainer, and all these are sustained and controlled by him. So that aspect is conveyed beautifully in this shloka. Okay. Yeah. So this, and as I said earlier, the Swadupagnya Vachaha can also be interpreted in two ways. So that also is very interesting to know. So one is to say that the Vedas themselves are declaring this. Okay, that's one way of saying it. Another way of understanding it is to say that those who know the Veda, they understand this actually. So that part is also an interesting way of putting it across. So those are nice anubhavams that we can have over here. So this, so both these shlokas, the previous shloka and this shloka, if you look at these two together, these two shlokas kind of establish that the creation, sustenance, dissolution, it's all the work of Brahman as Hayagriva. So we know that Brahman is responsible for creation, sustenance, and dissolution. So here, Swami Deshika is establishing that Brahman in the form of Hayagriva Murti is responsible for us. And this is very fitting, right? Because we are looking at Hayagriva Murti as the one who's responsible for the Vedas. And all these things are dependent on the Vedas. So he being the giver of Vedas, this form becomes the one which can be taken as the one that's responsible for the Jagat Srishti, for the Jagat Sthiti and Jagat Laya. So that's beautifully conveyed in this particular shloka. Okay. So these concepts of Nama Rupa Vyakaranam, of creating the Nama and Rupa, and all these, and being the Antaryami. And so as the Antaryami, he becomes the person or the entity that is referred to by all the names and forms. So those two aspects are mainly conveyed in this particular shloka. Okay. So let me read the shloka again. Avyakritat vyakritavānasi tvam namani rūpāni chayani purvam shamsamti tesham charamam pratishtham vāgīshvaratvam tvadupagnavachaha. Take some questions. One second, let me. Just a second, I just come to there are no questions as such. I don't see any questions. Okay, but somebody raised hand. Let me just check that. Yeah, Sangeet Prabhakar, yes, you can unmute and talk.
Namaskar, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
In the last shloka, Yamulam Amnaya Mahadrumanam, why is that Ya in female gender, in Strilinga? Why Ya
Akshara.
is in
Tam Tvam. So that comes as the adjective for that Akshara. So that is why it is in Strilinga. Akshara. Aksharam. Akshara Matrikam. Yeah. Akshara Matrika. Akshara Matrika is.
Akshara Matrika together is a Strilinga. Matrika.
Yeah.
Okay.
Akshara Matrika. So Aksharam, Akshara Matrikam. Therefore, Ya Moolam Amnaya Mahadrumana. Ya, that comes as the.
Okay, sure. And one more thing is this, in Upagnya, Tvadupagnya Vachaha, you told it as some samasa kind of thing. Can you repeat it, ma'am? Like, I felt that there were two meanings which you gave, wherein in one split you gave one meaning and the other. Which one is which samasa, something like that? Can
Both.
You?
I will give you the samasa details in the WhatsApp group. I'll send samasa details. Okay.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Thank you.
There are two samasas. You can give two samasas to give rise to two meanings. That's all.
Okay, ma'am. Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Let's see. Okay, there is a general question. Why is Lord Hayagriva a part of the imagery of Panchamukhi Hanuman? Any specific context? I will have to find out. I don't have a direct answer to that. I'll check that out and try and see if we can tell you. Or if somebody else has an answer, they can probably share it in the group. Okay. Okay. If there are no other questions, we can complete. No, that's all. Yeah. Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha.